Well, hello everyone. So today we are going to build this web page using HTML and CSS. It's going to be really fun for you guys. We have a bit of transitions and good stuff like in here on button and also like the cursor pointer and all that. So we are going to build this today. So without further ado, let's just jump right into a code editor. Great. So this is going to be our code, which is obviously we're going to remove this one. Go to a folder, make another one, tutorial.html, and also CSS, so tutorial.css. So first of all, we are going to generate a boilerplate for our code. So there it is. Give it a title of basic web page, and also link our CSS in here. So link and also go in here and tutorial.css. So now let's start our web page. First of all, we have a header. So header, which is in HTML5 semantics. It is also a div basically, but just to make a bit things a bit semantic. So in the new update, they gave it a name of header. So in our header, we have basically two parts, right? We have our logo, and then we have our nav links, right? So first of all, we're going to have a logo, which is going to be a division, and then we're going to have nav. So in the latest update, we also have a new semantic element called nav, which is also a div, but just to make sure everything is semantic, use nav. Okay, so in our logo, let's give it an h1 of logo. You can put your logo in here, but for now let's use a logo for practice purpose. So in our nav, we are going to have links and a button, right? So for that, for the links, you can use anchor tags, you can use list items. For me, I'm going to use an unordered list for now and give it class of nav links just to make it a variable nav links. And in the nav links, we have individual link for each link, right? So for that, we're going to have a list item having class of nav link for individual link, right? So now let's copy it down using shortcut key alt shift and down in VS Code. So this is how you're going to copy it, right? So now you can give your name like home, and then our services, after that like about us, and then going to be our button. So remove this one. After our link but inside of nav, we're going to have a button called contact us. Great, perfect. So now let's see what have we done so far. So let's refresh our page for now. Oh yeah, I forgot to change the directory, so remove this one and then go live again. Let's see what happened exactly in our browser. So there it is, our basic web page. Yeah, we're going to style it afterwards. Let's make two more sections just to make it look like a web page. We'll make it a section with the class of section 1. Here let's say heading of section 1 and copy it downwards with same alt shift and down key. Let's delete the class section 2 and here also section 2, right? So now if we see now, well, there it is. So we are done with our HTML, and now just jump into our CSS. So first of all, let's remove the basic styling. So all the margins 0 and headings to 0 and box sizing or border box. Okay, so now let's target our header. So for our header, we're going to have a background color of not size, color of, I have made it on my Figma, but I think I have to change it. Let's say for now, for tutorial, let's make it black now. And our color, we're going to use white. But as you can see that white and black are not don't look that much great. So let's remove the intensity of white a little bit. Let's make it a bit less intense. I think that's better. Let's see. Yeah, it looks much better. Great. And also we can just remove a black a bit. So let's remove the intensity of black as well. Oh god, sorry. Oh my god. Let's remove the opacity a bit. Right over here. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, great. So now what we want to do is we want our logo to stick here, but we want our links to move all the way over here. So for that we have a property called flex. We just flex on it. Yeah, display flex. Let's see what happens. There it is. We want our links to just jump over here, right? So let's say justify content space between. Oh, there it is. This one is on the right corner and this is on the left corner. And also for the better practice, never forget to give it a width and a height. Width of 100% and a height of 20 VH. Yeah, that's great. So now we want our logo to center horizontally, or not horizontally but vertically. So for that we have another property of flex called align items. Going to be center. There it is. Going to be centered right here. Okay, great. So I think we are done with the header. So now let's target our logo. So target our logo with our logo. Let's say, what do we change in here? Let's change the font size a little bit. So font size going to be 2 rem. Let's see, it's too big. Let's make it 1.5. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so now our logo is done. Let's see what can we do more. I think that's it. What can we do for more styling? It's up to you. You can use whatever you want to, but I think just give it a little bit of margin. So let's give it a margin 0 rem from top and bottom, and from left and right let's give it 3 rem. Yeah, that's great. You know, we don't want our margin from here, so you can use you don't want to use this property, just say margin left and use it 3 rem. Going to the same job, but you know, we won't have the margin from here, right? That's just for the better practice. I think we are done with the logo. So now after our logo, let's target our nav bar, which is, to be precise, this entire section. Okay, great. So our nav, we want our links not to be this way but to be on a horizontal scale. So for that, let's also say display of flex and justify content. Let's see what happens. Well, there it is. We still don't have this one into our horizontal line, well, because this one is going to be on a flex, right? This entire section. So for this one to be on horizontal, we have to make this one flex as well, right? We're going to do this later on, but for now let's make our nav bar a bit better. So let's give it a background of background color of red for now, just to make sure. Oh my god, it's really intense. But just for the debugging purpose, let's give it a width of let's say 40%, and let's see, what's too much. Let's give it a width of like 30%. That's better. So we have flex. Now you can use a property of justify content. Let's say space between. Yeah, it's better, but I think we can do better than this. So let's use space around. That's better. Great. So now just remove our red from here. It's too intense. Yeah, great. So now we want our links to be on a horizontal way. We are going to use this button as well, but let's go step by step. So use our links for now. Okay, so let's also align it. So align items is going to be center, just so it's also dead centered. We don't get any problems. Okay, this makes this one into center because we don't have a height for button, so it is going to be, so it was back, it was going to take the entire space that was given. But now we have centered it, it's given it a default height, which is going to change obviously. So let's go to our nav links. Okay, now give it a display of now flex on them as well. Well, there it is. Great. Now give it a background color just to see background color there. Let's give it a green. Don't use red again. Great. So this is going to be our background. Let's give it a width as well. Like a width of like 30% as well. Let's see. It's too small. 50% might work. Yeah, still no. 60%. You have to use some hidden trial method for that, right? And now let's say justify content, space around, and align items. Let's go to center. Voila, there it is. Now for our, it's not looking that great, so we're going to use some styling, but it's going to be on each link. So we don't have to use on the entire one, but on each link. Because of that, we use nav link class. So we don't want to change our entire links, but each link. So this is why we use some semantics over here, right? Great. So remove this one. Move the color. Now let's see what is on. Sorry. Now let's see. Yeah, that's great. Now let's change the font size a bit. Font size is going to be like 1 rem. Yeah, it's the default. Great. 1.5. Too big. Great. 1.2 rem. Yeah, that's great. So now these dots are really haunting me. So go to our nav link. Each link, individual link. Let's say list style, because it's going to be, it was our list, so going to say list style and say none. It's going to remove those dots, right? So and also let's also say like margin right. It's going to be 1 rem each, so we have a bit of a space. And also let's change the width so we have a space to breathe in here. Great. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, that's better. Also just change the font size a bit. I don't like the default one. Just call the serif. So yeah, font family is going to be sans serif. We want to have some smooth curves. So yeah. So let's change the width from 70 to 80%, so just we have room to breathe in here. That's better. That is much better. Great. So we want our nav to have a bit of a spacing from the left and right up, right? Give it 3 rem from the right one, so we have a bit of a space. Yeah, that's better. Great. So now our links are done. Each individual link is done. So let's see what we have next. We have the button, right? So we go to our HTML document and see what happens. After the link, we have our button. So let's target our button. Let's say let's remove the basic styling from it, right? So like border, none. Outline is going to be none. And then let's give it background of a lighter color. Background color. Oh my god, I can't type today. Background colors, let's say a bit of gray. That's fine. Yeah, that's better. So let's change the width and height. So give it a width of like 30%, and a height of, well, if you don't want to use height, just give it a padding of like 3 rem. Let's see. Oh, it's too much. It's too big. 1 rem. Yeah, this looks better. Now to smooth the edges, let's give it a border radius of like 0.5 rem. I think it looks better. Yeah, better. I really want some space to breathe after our nav, so let's say margin left. It's going to margin, not margin. Wait, margin left is going to be like 1 rem more, so we have a space to breathe. So now let's see what is happening here. So if we want to go to our nav links and give it a background color of like that again, yeah, intensive. Oh, they don't have the space, so this is why they're splitting into 2 lines. So for that, let's change the width of that as well, like 90%. So they have room to breathe in here, right? So yeah, that's better. So just remove it. So I think I'm thinking this. Whenever you're stuck in your position or something in your HTML or CSS, you give it a background so you can see what actually is happening into your code, right? So now we have a bit of a space and in our button as well. So yeah, but this doesn't look like a button right now. I want my cursor to be a pointer when I hover on my button. We have a property called the cursor pointer. So there it is. Now it looks like a pointer. We have to use this in our links as well because they look like a text. So go to our nav link, our individual link, and say cursor pointer. There it is. But if you notice, if I used this one, if I use this one in our nav links, like if I cut this one here and paste this one in here, what's going to happen is whenever I use into the entire div, it's going to be a pointer. I mean, right, this is nothing to be pointed at, but still my cursor is going to point in here. So this is why we use nav link. So it's going to be on the each link, not the entire div. So cut over here and paste it over here. Okay. Now this looks much better. Great. So now what we can do is we generally really want, I want my button to look a bit slim. It's really looking like a thick boy. So let's give it a width of 40%. Okay, and also change our width to 100% so they have room to breathe again. I think it's still not working. So what we can do in here is we can change our width of the nav from 30% to like 50%, so we can have some room. Yeah, that's better. That's really better. So now remove our width from 100% to like 70%. So yeah, I think we have to remove our button a bit, so this button don't have to be this much thick. So 30% I think is going to work better. Yeah, that's right. So now we have this working as well. Now we have to make our logo as well, which I forgot. So go to our logo and make it cursor pointer. Great. So now everything is done. Let's style our section as well. So section 1. So there's also another property. I mean, if you have multiple sections or multiple tags that have same styling, you can use selectors of like this selector and use section 1 and section 2 because they're going to have some basics, some common styling. Like the width is going to be 100%. Both of them also are going to have a display of flex. And I want every item inside of it to be in center, so justify content center and align items is going to be center. So because this is going to be same for both of them, so rather than typing everything for each of them, we just select it if using a selector, right? So now just which is different. So the things that are different you're going to use individually. The background color, let's say if we have black and gray, what color is going to suit? Let's say light gray, and for section 2, let's make it slate gray. Let's see. Well, there it is. Let's give it a height now. Let's give them height, but height is going to be different for both of them because we have our header 80 VH, so the next height is going to be 80 VH because I want this section to take up the entire space, but I want the section 2 to be the whole screen, right? So if I say section 1 to be height of 80 VH, take the entire space, but I want my section 2 to be a height of 100 VH. Let's see what happens. Here it is. So this is going to take the rest space, and this is going to take the entire section, right? Great. And also because the display, this is going to be into center, right? So our basic layout is done. Now let's add some basic styling into it, right? The thing that we saw, the underlined lines on each of our links. So let's go to our link and give it a background image of linear gradient. We have two colors, right? Let's copy them. We have this one and this one. So copy this one, RGB 2929. Copy and paste over here. And also we have another one, lighter one. So there it is. Copy this one. And let's go for gradient and paste it right here. Right? Now if you see, there it is, right? But I want my gradient to from top to bottom, so these are the property. You can say give it 90 degrees of worth of a slope. So now if I see, there it is, it's going to be 90 degrees from here to here. But I don't want this onto my entire link, so let's give it a size. Let's say background size going to be 100%, and the width is going to be let's say 2 pixels. This is going to be the width, this is going to be the height, right? Now if I see, now if I reload my page, it's not working. Let's see what happens now. Let's see what is happening. I forgot. Let's give it a background repeat. No, because it's repeating our whole link, right? So let's say background repeat, going to be no repeat, and let's see. You see, now it's on the top. We want this to be in the bottom, right? So let's go in here and say background position, not X but entire position, and say bottom, right? So now it is in the bottom. So we want our size to be from left to right, so for that just make it a little bit specific. Left to bottom, not going to change that much, but it's going to help ourselves in when we're going to style a bit afterward. So let's give it a transition. Well, what does you want to have a transition on? I want transition on my background size, so my background size is going to have a transition of 300 milliseconds is in, right? So now, but first I don't want my size to be visible for now, so I want, in a normal state, let's make it 0%, so it's going to be hiding. But when I hover, so nav link hover, this is a pseudo class, so I want the background size to increase again, now. The background size is going to be 100% and 2 pixels, right? So let's see what happens now. So there it is. If I hover, okay, so it's not working now. Let's see. Oh, I forgot the N in here. So yeah, now it's going to work. Still didn't working. So transition on my background size. Okay, I think I missed spell something. Background size 300 milliseconds is in, and from 0% to 100%. So what is it going wrong? Okay, so I found out the problem. The problem was that I forgot that my navlink is a class. Wait. So now if I go here, well, there it is. So you can use whatever you want. You can change the height of this line. Let's say if you want not to be 1 pixel, you can use this to be like 3 pixels if you want. I think it's going to be so, yeah, this looks so awkward, so let's call it like 2 pixels. Yeah, but I think 1 pixels look better, so let's go with 1 pixel. Yeah, that's better. It's looking minimal and good. So yeah, this is it. But also we have one more thing. Let's add a hover on our button as well. So in our button, we'll give our button a transition of 300 milliseconds, and on our hover button hover, let's give it a background, not blend mode, background color. We had gray. Now let's like make it light gray. So let's see. Yeah, I think it's a bit too light, so let's make it a bit darker. Yeah, that's better, I think. Yeah, that's much better. I think the transition is a bit too fast. Let's make it 500 milliseconds. Yes, it's going to be better. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, this is it. This is going to be our basic web page. Working all and fine. You can also use some styling, like making this font a bit bold or small or whatever. But yeah, this is our basic HTML and CSS. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.